Hi, I'm Lisa. Let's work on your English fluency. In this video, I will teach you words and expressions from a newspaper article so that you can learn to express yourself like a native speaker. True fluency in a language means being able to speak about a wide variety of subjects. We will read an article from the Los Angeles Times newspaper, and you will learn the meaning of all the difficult vocabulary. These are practical words that you need to know. In addition, we will practice pronunciation. I will read and you will repeat after me. And then at the end of the video, I will show you a list of all of the words you learned. And that way you can test yourself to see if you remember the words. And I suggest that you practice using the words by making your own sentences. The article is called Morning Traffic on 210 Freeway Snarled by Lane Closures for Bridge Repair Project. That's the headline. Headlines are often written using only keywords. You will notice that they generally don't contain the articles a, un, and the, or they don't contain auxiliary verbs, for example, was, have, has, and so on. For example, a headline might say, criminal finally caught, instead of the criminal has finally been caught, or victim speaks to judge, instead of the victim has spoken to the judge. The goal is to keep the headline short. I just saw a headline today in the Los Angeles Times that said extreme temps instead of extreme temperatures. If the title were a complete sentence, instead of morning traffic on 210 freeway snarled by, it would be morning traffic on the 210 freeway was snarled by. So if you see a newspaper headline that doesn't follow grammatical rules, don't be confused. This is the reason they like to keep it short and they often use the keywords. Let's look at the vocabulary now. Let's look at the meaning of the word snarled. The verb is to snarl, and that means to make disordered or confused, to complicate. And often when we're talking about cars and traffic, it means to prevent traffic from moving. For example, we can say, the traffic was snarled in both directions because of the accident. And snarl is also a noun. It means a confused or disordered state or situation, a complication, a confusion. And we often use it for hair. We can say, she's combing out the snarls in her hair. And for this type of hair situation, we can also say tangled. So we say snarled hair or tangled hair. The title reads, Morning Traffic on 210 Freeway Snarled by Lane Closures. The 210 freeway is a freeway in Los Angeles. Look at these lane closures. It was really bad for people driving to and from work. And by the way, don't confuse the words lane and line. In your language, it might be the same word. These are lanes. We don't say lines. This is a 2-lane road. On the Los Angeles freeways, there are sometimes 5 or 6 lanes in each direction. And let's look at the pronunciation and the meaning of the word closure. To close is a verb, and closure is a noun. Let's pronounce that S correctly. It's a j sound. Let's say that, je, closure. Closure is the closing down of something or the end of something, especially a business. You can say, for example, the closure of the factory will affect the whole community. Or the local residents protested over the closure of the hospital. This article talks about lane closures. They will close a lot of lanes because they need to repair a bridge. Let's look at the first paragraph of the article. San Gabriel Valley motorists faced a strenuous Thursday morning commute after the closure of the westbound 210 freeway in Irwindale the night before, according to the California Department of Transportation. The word motorist is another way to say a driver of a car. It's especially common to say motorists in news stories, especially when they're talking about drivers as a group. For For example, you can say, the sign is visible to passing motorists. Let's look at the word strenuous. Repeat after me, strenuous. If something is strenuous, it requires much energy and effort. We often use this word with exercise. For example, we can say, the doctor advised him to avoid strenuous exercise. Or, that's a strenuous climb. Make sure that B is silent. Repeat after me. That's a strenuous climb. Or, let's go for a walk in the park. Nothing too strenuous. The article says that motorists faced a strenuous Thursday morning commute. A commute is daily travel to and from work, usually if it's a longer drive. For example, you can say, I have a 1-hour commute each way. And a commute can be a noun or a verb. So you can say, I commute, or I have a commute. I have a long commute. Or you can say, I love living close to my work. I'm happy that I don't have to commute. So a strenuous commute is a very difficult and stressful commute because of the lane closures. Let's look at the word westbound. Look at the word bound. Do you know what that means? Bound means going in that direction. So the westbound side of the freeway means the cars that are going west. And of course, you can say eastbound or northbound or southbound. You can also use bound this way. You can say that airplane is New York bound, and that means the airplane is flying to New York. Let's look at the paragraph again. This time I will read it and I will pause so that you have a chance to repeat and practice your pronunciation. Listen and repeat after me. San Gabriel Valley motorists faced a strenuous Thursday morning commute. After the closure of the westbound 210 freeway in Irwindale the night before. According to the California Department of Transportation. Let's look at the next paragraph. 6 eastbound lanes between the 605 freeway and Irwindale Avenue were temporarily converted into 3 lanes in each direction for the project, said Caltrans spokesperson Mark Bishop. The westbound portion of the freeway will remain closed through the weekend. Caltrans is the California Department of Transportation. A spokesperson is a person who speaks officially for a group or for an organization or for the government. Let's look at the meaning of through in through the weekend. That means from now until the end of the weekend. For example, we can say the hot weather will last through Saturday, and that means between now and Saturday. Let's look at the paragraph again. This time I will read it and I will pause so that you can repeat after me. 6 eastbound lanes between the 605 freeway and Irwindale Avenue. And by the way, most native speakers say O instead of 0. So let's repeat that. 605. 605 freeway were temporarily converted into 3 lanes in each direction for the project. Said Caltrans spokesperson Mark Bishop. And notice that Caltrans ends with an S and spokesperson begins with an S. We're going to combine those 2 S sounds and we're only going to pronounce one S. We will say it like this: Caltrans spokesperson. The westbound portion of the freeway will remain closed through the weekend. Let's look at the next sentence. The closure is due to the $30 million San Gabriel River Bridge hinge replacement project, in which older hinges, railings, and storm drains will be replaced. This sentence has some practical words that you may not know. This is a hinge. It's a door hinge. It's a piece of metal that allows the door to swing open and shut. You can say, I sprayed some oil on the door hinge to stop it from squeaking. Squeaking is the sound that the door makes when it opens and closes. The verb is to squeak. And apparently bridges have hinges also. I don't know very much about engineering bridges, but apparently the hinges on the bridge needed to be replaced. Let's look at the next word. It's railing. This staircase has a railing. You hold onto it when you're walking. And you can say, be careful, the stairs are wet. Hold onto the railing. And this is a bridge railing. And this is a storm drain. And this is a sink drain. Water goes down the drain. We also have an idiomatic expression, down the drain. If something is wasted or it's lost, we can say, it went down the drain. For example, you can say, I bought a car that doesn't work. My money went down the drain. Let's listen to how some other people use the expression, down the drain.
That's $500 billion down the drain.
That's $200,000 down the drain.
And so instead of throwing that business down the drain, let's transform it.
I was thinking, wow, 2 years of work all down the drain.
Let's read the sentence again. Repeat after me. The closure is due to the $30 million. And notice I didn't say due to, I said due to. Due to. The closure is due to the $30 million San Gabriel River Bridge Hinge Replacement Project, in which older hinges, railings, and storm drains will be replaced. Let's look at the next paragraph. The westbound 210 was heavily affected for about a 6-mile stretch Thursday because it sees the most traffic during the morning commute, Bischoff said. Eastbound traffic is experiencing some slowing, which will likely worsen in the afternoon during the evening commute. Let's look at the word stretch. The article said 6-mile stretch. A stretch is an area of land or water, especially one that is long and narrow. For example, you can say, drive carefully, this is a dangerous stretch of road. A stretch can also be a continuous period of time. For example, we can say, we've had a long stretch of hot weather. I'm sure you know the word worse, but have you ever used the verb to worsen? That simply means to become worse. The situation has worsened, or the problem has worsened, or the doctor said that the pain might worsen before it gets better. Let's read the paragraph again so that you can practice your pronunciation. Repeat after me. The westbound 210 was heavily affected for about a 6-mile stretch Thursday. And by the way, we generally say on Thursday, but sometimes people eliminate that preposition and they just say Thursday, because it sees the most traffic during the morning commute. Bischoff said, eastbound traffic is experiencing some slowing, which will likely worsen in the afternoon during the evening commute. You already learned the word commute, so an evening commute is driving home from work. Let's look at the final paragraph. A second closure will take place August 17th to 23rd along the same stretch of the eastbound 210 due to the bridge project, Caltrans said. Closures are subject to change, and residents should check the Caltrans Quick Map for the most recent information. Do you frequently use the word to take place? It means to happen or to occur. Which one do you tend to say? Do you say to happen or do you say to take place? Let's practice saying take place. We can say, where did the party take place? It took place at my friend's house. The conference takes place every year. Let's use it in the present continuous tense. A lot of changes are taking place at my job. Instead of saying it might change, you can say it is subject to change. And this is usually used for schedules or for prices or for some specific policy. You can say the prices are subject to change. The schedule is subject to change. That's a more professional or more official way to say something might change. It is subject to change. All right, let's read the paragraph. Repeat after me. A second closure will take place August 17th to 23rd. Along the same stretch of the eastbound 210. Due to the bridge project, Caltrans said. And once again, we don't say due to, we say due to. And Caltrans said. Let's connect those two S's. We're only going to pronounce one S. Caltrans said. Closures are subject to change. We're going to connect those two T's. We're not going to say subject to. We're only going to pronounce the T one time. Subject to change. And residents should check the Caltrans Quick Map for the most recent information. Okay, let's see how many of the words you remember. I will show you a list of the words one by one. Ask yourself if you remember the meaning. Also, you can write the words down and practice making your own sentences. The first word is to snarl. Do you remember that one? The next word is lane. Closure. Motorist. Strenuous. Commute. Bound. For example, westbound. Spokesperson. Through. Do you remember the way through was used in the article? Through has a lot of different meanings. Hinge. Railing. Drain. Stretch. To worsen. To take place. Subject to. How did you do? Did you remember all of them? I recommend that you keep reading newspaper articles. And if you don't know the word, look it up, find out the meaning, and immediately make your own sentence. That way you're much more likely to remember it. And your knowledge can go from passive knowledge to active knowledge. And active knowledge means you're able to use the words yourself. Thanks for watching and keep practicing your English. To get the two courses, the American Accent course and the 400 advanced words you must know for fluent English, go to AccurateEnglish.com.